Hey guys, as promised, we're going to talk about Ignacio and his Neo Vision Awakening. Right, so here he is. By the way, his Ignition Axe from 170 has been updated to 201, I think, damage. Alright, so NV base, he has 215 attack, and if you upgrade him to EX3, he will have 263. So kind of low for a new Vision unit, but his Brave Shift has better stats. Right, so Brave Shift ability is available on turn 1, infinite duration, but the cooldown to normal is 4 turns. Cooldown to Brave Shift is 7 turns. So you're not gonna be swapping between his Brave Shift form and normal form. Better stick to 1 turn because of the cooldown limitations. No innate element resistance and status element resistance, but he has a huge pool of weapons to equip and also armor. Alright, so do note that he can cast level 8 black magic. So with the current with the new trial Scorn of Arrhenius, we get accessory that casts that allows quad casting of black magic. So he might be able to gain another chaining family using that thing. So he can support chain. Alright, so new abilities are Blazing Stamp, level 5. Fire physical damage 60 to all enemies. Increase fire, physical, and magic damage 15% for 3 turns to all allies. So he can amp the fire damage of all your allies for 3 turns, and it chains with Absolute Mirror of Equity. Flame Stamp is fire physical damage to 1 enemy. Also AMOE. And then Axe Boost, 5 turn cooldown available on turn 1, increases his attack 300 for 4 turns, and also decreases axe resistance by 25% for 4 turns to 1 enemy. So I think he's the only one that has Axe Imperil. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then he still has his old skills. He can, if you didn't know, he can AoE Imbue Fire and also Imperil Fire at the first turn, and also buff attack and mag, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Alright, so he's a good support unit and damage dealer in his base form. Alright, so 2 new passives in Neo Vision. How you get strong increases his physical damage against beasts and plants by 100. It also increases his equipment attack 100 and accuracy by 25. Eat Well, Train Well upgrades normal attack to Flame Lord's Blow. So Flame Lord's Blow does fire physical damage 43 to 1 enemy. Also decreases fire resistance 120 for 3 turns to 1 enemy. So that's a pretty good imperil on auto attack. Alright, so here are his black magic. He can cast Faraga and Faraja. Alright, so these have been upgraded. And his LB is still the same. It hasn't been upgraded, even though he is awakened to Neo Vision. Alright, so that's it for his base form. Pretty not really exciting, except for the Imperil, I think, Axe Imperil. But who uses Axe anyway? A damage healer that uses Axe, probably Ignacio himself. But the fire and physical damage amp could be useful if you don't have Realm. I think it's only Realm that ups fire physical. Realm and Neo Vision Rain, I think. Alright, but just looking at his passives, he already has cap on TDH. So pretty easy to build TDH since you don't need any TDH equipment anymore. I think you just need his TMR or SEMR equipped. Alright, so you would have his SEMR if you awaken him to Neo Vision. So that's not really an issue. Alright, so if you need, let's see, what are the pros of his base form? If you need a fire amp support chainer that for AMOE, he could be your guy. He also decreases axe resistance. And AoE imbues fire and imperils fire and boosts offensive skills. But it's just 180. It's kind of outdated now. But I used him before when he was I didn't have any good units. Alright, let's go to his Brave Shift form. Let's look at his passives in Brave Shift form. So take note, 215 attack, but when Brave Shift, 283 attack. So pretty high attack there. Goes up to 346 at EX3, but who would EX3 him? So EX2 would give him 331. Alright, so he does have some element resistance in Brave Shift form. 50% fire damage, element resistance, and completely immune to blind, paralyze, and petrify. He can still equip the same weapons and armor, and still can cast level 8 magic. He still has the axe boost, decrease axe resistance, and then flame stamp still has access to this one, and then burning stamp is a new skill. It's on a 2-turn cooldown, available on turn 2. Fire physical damage 80 to 1 enemy. And then incinerating stamp, 4 uses per battle, unique selection and multicast, so you can only cast this once on a multicast. Fire physical damage 100 to 1 enemy. Pretty good. And triple stamp, it requires his TMR or SCMR to equip, so he can triple cast everything here. Alright, so looking at his passives, he still has the Eat Well, Train Well passive. How you get strong increases is still the same thing. Team Cook is absorb fire damage taken. So any fire damage, he doesn't actually need the 50% fire resist here, since he already absorbs fire damage. So that could be useful someday on a trial that does fire damage. So you don't need to equip him with fire resistant gear. Homey Food is best, increases attack 200, defense HP by 100, and 70% MP. Still increases the equipment attack by 100, so another 100 TDH. And Blacksmith's Unexpected Sides, autocast regen, and upon revival or after Brave Shift. He has 5% MP refresh and LB gauge 5 per turn. And last is Know Oneself Through Weapons, increases Spirit by 50% and LB damage by 100. Alright, so regen heals 1800 HP per one turn to ally. And then his LB skill is Raging Hellfire, does 1 hit and costs 27 crit. So pretty cheap. Fire physical damage 115 to an enemy. Really slightly high modifiers there. Alright, so that's his Brave Shift form. Nothing too special. He'll be an LB damage finisher, LB damage fire, physical damage finisher in his Brave Shift form, which has an axe imperil. But he doesn't have an LB damage buff. So that's the only downside here. LB damage finisher that doesn't have an LB damage buff, but he does have LB damage passive of 100. So what I can think of to make him work is to bring Yoshikiri with him to buff LB damage by 150%. Or in the future, we will have NVZ Dane that can buff LB damage by 300%. Alright, so if you already have copies of him to awaken him to envy, it's not much of an investment to awaken him to envy if you already have the resources. Alright, so pretty much if you need a fire LB damage physical finisher, Ignacio would be useful. If you need Axe Imperil, he would be useful as well, but he does need some external support to function well. He also doesn't have LB gauge fill, so you need to fill his LB gauge naturally or using his base form. One thing I like to do is equip the base forms for LB fill and then fill that up using other support chainers on the first turn, and then shift to Brave Shift form and fire off the LB. Alright guys, hope this was helpful. I'm gonna check if what the damage is on FURCULA'S, what his damage forecast is on FURCULA'S damage sheet. So let's go there together. This video is sponsored by Amazon Coins. Get 10,000 Amazon Coins for $80 instead of $100. That's a savings of 20%. You can use the Amazon Coins to buy Lapis for FFBE. I placed a link in the description below. Check it out after you watch the video. Alright, we're here at FURCULA'S damage sheet. So let's look for Ignacio. Can you see Ignacio anywhere, guys? There we go. Alright, so Ignacio does 188 billion average damage without SMRs and 481 billion if he has SMRs. Alright, so who does that go in par with? So he would do the same damage more or less with Warrior of Light Barts, Gilgamesh, Riku, Tifa, Sora, Axer, and Cleo? No. He would do more damage, average damage per turn with SMRs. More than Onion Knight, Reagan, Savior, Madame Medal, Esther, alright. Alright, but he doesn't do much damage without SMRs. Alright, so let's see his burst damage. He does 1.2 million, billion, 1 trillion, 1.2 trillion damage. But this sheet is assuming he has a 300% LB damage boost from Zidane. Alright, so 1.2 trillion would put him on par with Laswell and Reagan. So pretty good, and Rain and Fina as well. So pretty good damage there if you have external support. Alright, so he doesn't have his own LB damage buff. You need Zidane to buff his LB. Zidane will be a new Vision in the future. Alright, so if you don't have external LB damage boost for him and also external LB gauge filler, he won't do much damage since you'll be using turns filling up his LB gauge and you don't have an LB damage buff, so you would be stuck with a maximum of 300% LB passive. He does have a 50% LB damage buff in his base form, but the cooldowns to Brave Shift form prevent him from switching to and fro from his normal form to Brave Shift form. Alright guys, he does have some potential, but he needs external support to go up to that potential. Alright guys, hope this was helpful. Quick look at NV Ignacio. Let me know if you're gonna awaken him to Neo Vision. You can still make progress with your Neo Vision quests. Though, if you have enough copies of him, why not just awaken him for the quest? Or maybe you want to use him in trials that have fire damage, so he can absorb it and cheese it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.